Hey, it's Peg Leg Craig. I'm out and about, which seems to be the sum total of my life these days. But let me share a little thing with you today. I noticed uh, Nick Fuentes has now announced that he is a non-woke Democrat. I don't know what that means, because once you ally yourselves with the Democrats, you've let yourself in for the wokeness. There is no other way. Another scumbag that's taken a nasty fall from grace, as far as I'm concerned, is J.P. Sears. Now, I never liked him to begin with. I mean, the guy would have any excuse he could find to put on a dress. He's acting like he's making fun of the left. I think he just likes wearing dresses. He likes to show off his muscular body, and all this other stuff. And he claims to have been funny, but honestly, I don't even remember him accidentally saying anything funny. So now he's turned against the MAGA movement. God bless him. Good luck, Jay. Now you're finally where you belong. You're finally with your people. You don't have to pretend anymore, Jay. Because we knew, JP, that you weren't legit to begin with. Nick Fuentes, you've never been legit. Nick Fuentes, in my opinion, is a Fed. All right? And he came in sort of the shadow of Richard Spencer, if you remember him. And now he's doing exactly what Richard Spencer did the last election. He went for Kamala. So what's Nick doing now? He's allying himself with the Democrats. You can't be a non-woke Democrat, because in order to be a Democrat, you have to sign on to their woke crap. It's that simple. Then on the other hand, you have Megyn Kelly, who was practically a Mark Levin groupie, and I remember her talking about him on numerous occasions. And now she's suddenly acting like she barely knows who he is, that she never liked him, and all this other stuff. And yet, we have the sound bites. You have Tucker Carlson, who's about what is it Graham Allen said, 3 months away from declaring that he's converted to Islam. And you have Candace Owens, who, in my opinion, is just simply all over the place now. I mean, she tried so hard to cover for her husband and the things that he's done. In my opinion, she now has boxed herself in to a rock and a hard place, because her lies are coming to the surface. People are seeing her for what she is now. All right? And I mean, again, it was a wrong thing to do. I'll tell you, if I were ever going to pick a fight politically with anybody, the last person it would be Laura Loomer, because I mean, that girl really does her research. I don't care how you feel about her, I don't know too many people that have backed Maxine Waters into a corner. I don't know of too many people who have shown their face where they're not welcome, and there are people there who want to do them harm. Now, Savannah Hernandez, I give an exception to that, because she's done everything. She was there for everything. She goes right into the heart of things, and she's not afraid. And as you know, she was recently attacked, and thankfully, her attackers are going to pay for it now. But Laura Loomer is, man, I mean, I almost want to say that she is the mother of vindictive journalism, in a sense, because once you irk her or someone that she supports, she goes after you with both barrels and then some. But the thing is what she reports generally turns out to be true. She's almost never had to print a retraction. I can only think of one, and I can't even remember what the subject matter was. But whenever she's gone after somebody, she's always turned up the receipts, and she has saved and averted us from believing in people that we had no business believing in. So kudos to Laura Loomer. I don't care how you feel about her, and I don't care how you feel about her being Jewish or whatever else. That's on you. That's your own prejudice you got to deal with. And no, you can't say that I'm like some Israel nut either. I mean, I do support Israel's right to exist, but I don't support the Israeli government. And I don't support the Israeli government because they are oppressing Christians in Israel. So, and I did a whole show about persecuted Christians, and I included Israel in there. And I showed you the real truth about how a Christian in Israel is not only oppressed by the Israeli government, they're also oppressed by the Palestinians. So I can't be more fair than that. But yeah, I do recognize Israel's right to exist. You know why? because they are the cork in the bottleneck between us and the caveman world. And believe me, if you've ever been to any of the Middle Eastern countries, Muslim controlled, you would understand what I'm saying. All right? Those are caveman countries, and you're not going to tell me any different. The way they treat women, the way they treat people. Listen, as a Christian, I think it's an abomination to be gay. But do I want to hurt a gay person? No. Do I want to throw them off of roofs? No. Do I want to make life more miserable for them because of their orientation? No. I want them to have the freedom to exist and make their own choices in the United States the way that I do. I chose Jesus. They can choose whatever they want. That's their business. All right? We have no business just killing them because they like to do this or that or whatever they put in their mouth, okay? So that aside. And this is a Christian speaking, a good Christian, I hope. Well, not always a good Christian, but I try. The other one, let's see, we went after Megyn Kelly already. Who else was the other one? Well, Candace Owens. It seems to be coming to light now that what she said wasn't true about her husband turned out it is true, in my opinion. And it seems like Jeremy Hambley, the quartering, he touched on this earlier today. I think he had it right when he said that it seems like she's actually going so fiercely right now because she's trying to cover up for something else. And that I find interesting because it will be interesting to see where the Mr. Farmer's case goes. You know, what may have been done for him to obtain American citizenship despite the fact that he's been arrested for crimes. And it may also explain a lot about Candace's mindset about a lot of different things. What I'm saying now is that we gotta turn away from these people, and they can't come back, all right? Megyn Kelly was really the only person who successfully jumped off the MAGA train and came back. And she did it trying to go after Donald Trump, as I pointed out on the show where I was talking about the influencers. She wanted to have her grandstanding feminist moment at Donald Trump's expense, and it blew up in her face, and she made a total fool of herself, and she never forgave Trump for that. But she's also a woman who is very aware of how the wind blows, and how the wind blew was, you know, she knew that in order to gain more followers, especially once she was independent and on her own, was to be MAGA. So she used the MAGA movement to boost herself, and now she's using the boost that she got from them to push her own agenda, and that's what she's doing right now. So it's time to write off Megyn Kelly. Please don't donate to these people. They're multi-millionaires. They don't need your money, and all you're doing is you're paying for your country's demise. We have the midterm elections coming up very soon, and it's going to be a bloodbath for us if we don't put these people aside, put them in their place where they belong. It's kind of weird how they've all engineered it all at once, you know, that they all turned against MAGA, you know. And I mean, they're not doing it in an equal way. I mean, you know, some of them are going their own way. I mean, Nick Fuentes has retreated into his Catholicism all of a sudden, even though he's a fan of Joe Stalin and commemorates his birthday. It's a happy day for him. Joe Stalin killed a lot of Christians. Joe Stalin killed his own sister, for crying out loud. All right. Joe Stalin was a bigger butcher than Adolf Hitler ever could have been in the time that he was president of Russia, and he killed his own people. That's who Nick Fuentes admires. I recall him saying once, Jeffrey Epstein was a good guy. Really? Jeffrey Epstein was a Fed too. We don't know if he was a Fed for the Mossad or for the United States government, but Jeffrey Epstein was a filthy scumbag, is what he was. And I have no problem saying that. So to admire Stalin and Jeffrey Epstein and to say nice things about the mustache man himself, why do you even listen to him? What's good about him? What is it that compels you that he's such a great guy that you need to listen to Nick Fuentes? I mean, I don't know what his sexual orientation is, you know, but it seems like there's a whole lot going around about him being a closeted homosexual. Well, I don't care one way or the other what his sexuality is, but if he's going to tell us how to be procreative and the type of families that we should have, then he should be pretty upfront about his sexuality, don't you think? Because, you know, if he wants to marry a guy, he's not being very procreative. And I don't know. I just think that, like, people have made too much out of him, and really, he's a big letdown. He really, truly is. And that interview he had on Tucker Carlson was, I've never seen such softballs thrown at a figure where you could have some real contentious interviewing and do some really good television, and Tucker Carlson dropped the ball on it. And he dropped the ball on purpose. He purposely didn't want to attack Nick Fuentes, you know. Just like Megyn Kelly with Candace Owens. She purposely doesn't want to attack Candace Owens. Now, she won't go after Ilhan Omar now that we've got her by the throat, and she's practically, you know, going to get kicked out of Congress and maybe deported. But she sure went after Ilhan Omar when it was advantageous to her career. Now, her excuse for not going after Candace Owens, I'm not going after a mother with children. Well, Ilhan Omar was a mother with children when you went after her with both barrels. So was Patty Murray in your heyday when you were back there with, who was it, Bill Hemmer on Fox. He used to do that morning show. You guys were like America's sweethearts. I miss that, Megyn Kelly. I used to like her. Well, back then, you know, she went after Patty Murray, the sneaker-wearing soccer mom. Phony, you know. And Patty Murray had kids all over the place. So, you know, that's just a disingenuous excuse that Megyn Kelly is using. Look, we've got to come together, all right? We've got to separate these people. Follow people that make sense and are at least consistent in their points of view, all right? I'm not a fan of Steven Crowder. I'm really not. But I can at least say that he's consistent in what he believes. And he sticks by things. I'm becoming a fan of Graham Allen, and I really like him. I like how he does his show. I like how he presents the receipts. I mean, he basically buried or rode right through Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, and Candace Owens all in 1 week. All right? So if you want somebody to follow, and you want somebody to contribute, even though he's already a millionaire too, that's the guy to go with. Another one that I think that people tend to underestimate is Scott Goulet. I know it's a kind of weird choice because he does kind of an establishment news program, but he is very on board with the Trump agenda. And not only that, he's a good apologist for Donald Trump, and also he presents facts. When he goes after something in a story, it's a story. And he does it in the old Walter Cronkite style of news. And I'll tell you what, we've gone so far away from that in this modern era that, you know, it's almost depressing. My first vote, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, my first vote that I ever made for president was in 1984. It was Ronald Reagan's second term. And to me, that felt like true liberation and joy. And it really was, because we saw something for our votes back then. Now, voting for Trump has been a good thing, but we're not able to see as much as we could for our votes because we have too many forces working against us. Now, I also want you to think about this. Who is the heir and the successor to Donald Trump? Who's going to take over when Trump is out of there? Because honestly, I know everyone wants to fall in line with J.D. Vance, but I don't see J.D. Vance that way. I just don't. Marco Rubio has been more of a good proponent of MAGA than J.D. Vance has. But again, I couldn't back Marco Rubio either. You know, I mean, not in good conscience. You know, because you know that once the thumb has been lifted from him, that he'll just go back to being who he was, or at least there's a possibility of that. I used to love Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds was my choice to be the heir to MAGA, and then all of a sudden now he softened his stance on illegal aliens. I can't figure that out. I don't know why these people are changing their minds or if they're changing their minds at all and it's not just the true them coming out. But what I'm saying here is we have to let go of these people. These people are not going to do any good. They are certainly not going to help us get our agenda passed. They're certainly not going to help us survive the midterms. And if we don't survive the midterms, then the next 2 years after that will be constant Trump impeachment, dot, 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 dot. Nothing will get done. Everyone will be at each other's throats and we'll be bickering and there'll be hardening of hearts and nothing good will happen for the country. Do you believe in America? Do you want America to be better? Do you want America to be great again? I mean, truly great again? Ronald Reagan great again? Well, we have to get on board with the right people. We have to throw these, you know, I'm going to do it. I don't curse normally, but I'm going to tell you. We got to throw these assholes aside. It's time. All right? They've outlived their usefulness. It's pretty obvious that they were, at the very least, talking heads. That they really never had opinions of their own. And that now it seems that they're comfortable in their place in society and with the wealth that they've accrued, that now they're saying what they really mean. Because, I mean, Tucker Carlson is rich as anything. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was already born rich, but I'm just saying he had already made millions when he created the Daily Caller. He made millions off of his various channels that he worked on. And his contract with Fox was insane. He was the highest paid person there when they got rid of him. I think actually to this day they're still paying him, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but. So he's made his gazillions. Megyn Kelly made a ton of money on Fox. She got a nice contract deal with NBC where she went real hard left and then all of a sudden left that behind, you know. And went to an independent thing, and I don't think she left it behind. I think they left her behind, and went to an independent deal where she's also making money hand over fist. Nick Fuentes is a self-made guy. I give him credit for that. But he's a self-made guy on no principles, because everything that he says changes. Everything that he supposedly believes in, you know, changes. The only thing that stays consistent with him is that he loves the mustache man, Joe Stalin, and that he likes to create chaos rather than help bring about order. He was pro-Trump only because he thought Trump would bring more chaos than he did. And actually the problem is, for a lot of these people, Trump is bringing more order than they expected. Okay? So here's what I really am trying to say here. Let's throw these people aside. I don't say let's rail against them, like make videos against them or whatever else. That's exactly what they want. They want the engagement. I say we ignore them. Ignore them. All right? You want to know someone we ignored that went away? S.E. Cupp. Remember her? She was Miss Conservative, you know, and always on the Bill O'Reilly and, you know, the various spots on Fox that she used to do. She had, you know, she would have 2, 3, 5 hits a day on Fox. And then she went hard left and she went over to MSNBC, I believe it was. And when she went hard left there, she lost everybody. And then over there, they didn't like her anyway. So now where is S.E. Cupp? Where, do you hear about her much? I think she writes a column somewhere or something. She might have a podcast. Almost everybody does, including this chiclet teeth loser right here. So, you know, she might have one of those. But I mean, she's not popular. She's not sought after. She's not talked about anymore. She gets no engagement. Okay? That's what we want to do to all of these other people. We want to leave them barren in the wasteland, because that's where you really get your revenge, because that's what they hate most. They can't stand not getting attention. So let's give them no attention. Anyway, if you're going to tune into people, like I said, the Quartering, Jeremy Hambley channel, I love him. He's not always, you know, I don't always agree with his takes on everything, and sometimes he actually gets annoying with some of his takes on everything, but he's consistent and he's fair and he's down the middle. He's a very balanced guy. I really like him for that. I definitely, Graham Allen, you got to listen to Graham Allen, because this guy brings the receipts. Boy, if you're going to have somebody go after you with cannons, Graham Allen's the guy who's going to do it. And he's not afraid to say anything. You know, he's former military and he works for the Defense Department now, so he's an insider too, and he knows a hell of a lot more about what's going on than all these speculating talking heads that don't even do their own journalism. What is Megyn Kelly Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, what do? They don't do their own journalism. They read other people's stuff, or they use other people's stuff, or they have inside sources that always seem to turn out to be wrong. They're not doing any hard journalism. They're not out there taking punches like Savannah Hernandez. They're not out there in the trenches really doing, true digging like Laura Loomer. So look, whether you like Laura Loomer or not, you got to back her, because she's your best ally. She's going to bring out everything bad about those people that are trying to get you to think a certain way. All right? And Savannah Hernandez, to me, she's a saint. I've always thought she was good people, and she's always been a source of comfort out there, as far as journalism goes, and she gives me a lot of hope for the future. I also like Natalie Winters from Steve Bannon's program. Thing is, now I think she's starting to get a little bit Hollywood, so I hope that she keeps her head together and doesn't go too far off the rails. But she's pretty fine too. So, and I'm not just talking about her looks, I'm talking about her journalist work. Also, there's someone at Jack Prosovic's channel, Human Events. I cannot remember the girl's name, but she does some really excellent work, and she actually does her research. So if you're going to follow people, these are the type of people that you should follow. The people that are actually doing their homework, that are actually getting real stories, and they aren't just bloviating, talking heads, using other people's material, and spinning opinions. Come to think of it, that's kind of what I do. All right, well, that's okay. Nobody follows me anyway. But anyway, I love you all. Pray for me. I'm praying for you. And let's pray for America, because we are in the 11th hour of the darkest hour in our history if we don't come together and pull ourselves over the finish line. We have to soften our hearts. We have to forget about our beefs with this one and that one, and we have to start making America great again. God bless you all.